Hey, short video here. I just want to do an experiment trying to get controller 1 on the Super Nintendo I found at the dump functional. I watched some videos online. I can see one of the pins in here is corroded, so looking at other people's attempts to repair this, I came up with my own idea. Well, at least I haven't seen it anywhere else, but let's get cracking and see if we can't fix the corroded pin in here that seems to be causing the problem with port 1. Okay, quick little video here. I'm gonna attempt to repair this controller port. This guy here is a Super Nintendo controller port, and I tried multiple controllers here and they didn't work. I also tried those same controllers on a different machine and they worked just fine. So I'll take you through my experimental process of cleaning what I think is corrosion on one of these pins here. I don't know if you can see it, but that pin right there, the second one, is a little tarnished. I'll see if I can bring you closer. Maybe it'll focus. You see that second pin? It's clearly corroded, and I think that's not making contact with the controller, causing some issues. I believe only a couple buttons work on the controller, so I'll walk you through the process of maybe taking this little guy apart and seeing what we can get to and seeing what I can use to remove that corrosion. So let's get crack-a-lackin'. So the first thing I'll do is I want to get to the pins, as close to the pins as possible. So this is made of a couple parts here. You can see that this lighter gray material is just set in here with clips, and I'm just going to release those by giving it a little pressure and pushing up on there, and that should release the port. I'll do that on the other side. So that's undone, and we'll just flip it over and do that same thing on the reverse, and that comes off just like that. So my idea, I saw a video from Game Tech where he took the pin from an old controller apart and used that kind of as a Dremel tool to get in there, and he didn't have much success with that. It was a great idea, and he also thought about maybe taking some sandpaper and rolling it up to get it in there, but those are pretty small. So I was thinking, what could go in there that could clean out those pins and get us back to normal? So what I'm going to use today is a chemical. I'm not going to use rubbing alcohol or ammonia or anything like that. I'm going to use some good old CLR. I have no idea if this is going to work. My plan is to just, put a couple drops in here in hopes that it sits there long enough to maybe break up that corrosion, and then I'll either vacuum it out. Come on, camera, focus. Like vacuum it out, blow it out with some air, but I need to make sure it's not just going to drip down into the PCB down in here, because that could be bad, it could be fatal. So what I'll do first is a test drop on a pin that is not corroded. What I'll use, I'm not going to use the CLR because that stuff's pretty corrosive. I'm going to use just some rubbing alcohol, or some denatured alcohol I'll use. The reason I'll use that for a test liquid is because it evaporates quickly. It's not very corrosive on metal, and it doesn't stick around long. So I'll get that in a syringe, and then we'll put some test drops in and see where the liquid travels at that point. Let's get to it. Okay, so I have my handy dandy syringe here. I just want to get the air out. you gotta be careful. You should probably use a blunt syringe for something like this, but I didn't have that. I use this for, have these for refilling ink. But let's see what we have here. Alright, so I'm going to use this pin as the... Actually, I'll use this one a little further away than this. This is the corroded pin here. I'm going to start over here. Yeah, I'm going to check to see if it fills up this channel and stays there, or if it's just going to run out of the bottom. So we'll just get a little going. And it looks like it's going to hang out. Just going to move my needle around the edge like so to make sure there are no bubbles. So that's my test with the denatured alcohol. Kind of hanging out there, and I'll get on to the next part. Okay, so it's been sitting for about, oh, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, and the liquid is still in there. I think you're seeing it a little lower in level because it's just been evaporating off. So I'm just gonna dry that out, and then we'll load up the old syringe with the CLR and see if that will take off the corrosion on this here pin. So let's get to it. Okay, so what I did is I just poured some CLR in a little, you know, an old, like, medicine, cough medicine top, little measuring unit. That's just so I can easily draw some out with my syringe here. And you don't want to get this shit on your skin or anything. And say we got enough in our syringe to do what we need. So let's get this over here. Give you a little zoom in. I'm just going to squeeze a little out. Whoop. Now, you see our corroded pin right here. I'm just going to put enough in there to load up that well. Nice and slow. No need to rush. And again, you should probably be using a blunt tip. Syringe here. We see we got that CLR in there, and it looks like it's doing something. Let me see if we can get closer. It's like bubbling. And I think this could be a good sign. Oh, I wish you could see that. Let me try to zoom all the way out and just bring you in closer. Don't know if you can see it, but there is some activity in there. I might add a little more, to make sure we are topped off. Call me kooky, call me wacky, but I think I'm seeing some activity in there. When I first put it in, I thought I saw some some bubbles happening. But there it is. You know, this could be a horrible idea. But I'm just gonna let that sit for a little while. And maybe, just maybe, that will clean our connector enough for our controller port to work. And I'm using unconcentrated CLR. They tell you to mix it 50-50, or if you need a tougher clean, use it unconcentrated. And that's what I'm using now, is unconcentrated. So yeah, I'll get back to you in like 10 minutes and we'll dry it out and see what happens. I'll see you soon. I'm just gonna take my syringe here. I'm going to empty this out back into my container. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the syringe back into this and suck out that liquid. And believe it or not, I think that looks better. I mean, it still looks a little discolored, but that might just be the CLR. I'm going to give this a second dose of CLR, and then maybe after that we'll clean it with some denatured alcohol and dry it, and then we'll test play it. But that looks not bad. So yeah, let's pop some more CLR in there. Got enough in there to make a little dome with the liquid because of the surface tension of the fluid. Yeah, if this is a good fix, I'll pass this little tip on to Game Tech if he hasn't already come up with a nice method of cleaning these. Yep, so I'm going to let that sit for a little longer. We'll dry it out, and then we'll clean it with some denatured alcohol, and I'll show you that next. Okay, so we're back, and I'm just going to remove the remaining CLR here, the old syringe. I'm going to discard that. I am now putting denatured alcohol into the syringe. I'm just going to lie this down on a piece of paper towel here. I'm just going to give it a nice blast like that. Kind of knock it out. Get right in there. And I'm just going to give it a nice jet so it kind of like a mini pressure washer, like that. I know it seems intense, but this denatured alcohol is not going to hurt anything. If it dries quick enough, we'll be fine. We'll be just dandy. And this stuff is already evaporating. Oh no, to me, I think that definitely looks better. I mean, it's a little yellow. I think just might be from the CLR, maybe a little residual corrosion might be on there. But I think it's worth a shot to see if that worked any. Yeah, so anyway, I think that's where we'll go from here. I'm going to consider that cleaned, I guess. This could be the fix to corroded pins, CLR with a rinse of denatured alcohol, just to make sure everything's cleaned out of there. But I think it looks pretty good, Video's probably longer than it should have been, but let's get to a test play and I'll show you that. So it's time for a test run. Let me change the input on my TV. And before I could only use like the, I think it was the A button, A and B button, I think, and nothing else would function. So I'm hoping this fixes it. Start button worked, and my controller's now working. So I think the CLR may have done the trick on that corroded pin. So my controls work. Let's go into a world here. So when I push my left and right triggers work just fine. I can pause with my start button. I don't have any goodies up top, but everything seems to be working just excellent now. So yeah, CLR, couple drops in your corroded pin slots just might do the trick when it comes to fixing your corroded controller port. Quick video, kind of, I guess, but thanks for sitting through my experiment and another DIY project. So we'll see you later. Give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. Bye.